Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today we're taking a look at the Spyderco Yojimbo 2, but this is not just any Spyderco Yojimbo 2. This is the DLT Trading exclusive featuring 20 CV steel as well as tan G10 scales. Now, before I go any further in this review, I also have a very special announcement to make. I have managed to partner with DLT Trading, and they're going to be sponsoring some of my episodes on the channel and supporting the channel in various ways. Now, there's a lot of things that make me really happy about that. Mainly, though, DLT is one of my favorite retailers. They are top of the line, from selection of knives to shipping on time to, most importantly, customer service. Their customer service is second to none. They are just as good as anyone in the country. They're super supportive and just some great people working there. So I couldn't be happier to partner with them, and you will see more of that moving forward here on the channel. I'm going to be linking DLT's website and all the channels sponsored by them, as well as direct links to any knives being featured on this channel. Now, with that being said, let's get into this knife right here. We have an overall length of 7.69 inches, a blade length coming in at 3.2 inches with a cutting edge right at 3 inches. We have a blade width of 1.48 inches, and that is coming from right here, from the widest point. So as you can imagine, as you move down closer, it gets much more narrow. We have a blade thickness coming in at 0.145 inches. Blade steel on this guy here, as I said, CPM 20 CV. Now, there's also the regular base model of this version available in S30V, which is still a very nice blade as well. I actually used to have that one for quite a while. I ended up selling it mainly to replace it with this one, but either steel is very nice, plenty good enough for EDC carry. You're obviously just getting a little more edge retention and corrosion resistance with the 20 CV. Now we have a pretty wicked Wharncliffe style blade with a very nice hollow grind that makes for a very slicey blade, and a handle length coming in at 4.5 inches with a handle thickness right at 0.45 inches. We have a handle width coming in at 1.25 inches, and that 1.25 inches is being measured right here. So as you can see, that's obviously going to vary pretty greatly as you move up and down the handle. We have a handle material of G10. This is tan. The base model comes in black. We have a user of tip up right or left hand carry. So Spyderco doing everybody some favors there. This is very good for anyone, whether you are right or left-handed. And we have a weight coming in at 4.1 ounces, designed by Michael Janich, with a price coming in for this guy was right around $158. I want to say it was like $158.20, something like that. And then the base price with S30V is $154.70. So you do get a pretty good bump in steel for the extra, $4 and change, or really less than $4 for the 20 CV. I do want to note that unfortunately the 20 CV is sold out right now. I know that's something that could potentially come back down the road, but I don't know if it is. I really hope it does, because I think it'll continue to sell well. But regardless, the price is about the same. And as I said before, I really think either model is a pretty good knife, and I'm going to go over and cover why I think that here in this review. But let's do some size comparisons here real quick with some knives that I think fit the bill somewhat well. Here we have the Kaiser Sheepdog. This is the regular size Sheepdog, as well as the Giant Mouse Ace Biblio. Now again, when you have a knife like the Yojimbo that is so hard, I mean, such an extremely unique blade, you're not going to, in ergos and everything, you're not going to find anything that feels really similar to it. I got these, especially the Sheepdog. I think the overall, length and width of it is actually pretty similar, especially the handle. If you really look at the handle, there's obviously some more lines and whatnot, but I do find these two to be pretty similar, and the Biblio is just there more for a size comparison. And let's also go with a couple Spydercos here. We have another odd Spyderco blade shape. This is the Spyderco Smock. And we also have the Spyderco Manix 2. So I think the Manix 2 is also a pretty good comparison when you're talking length. It is just a little longer, and the Smock is also really kind of right there. So there you have that, some pretty good size comparisons. And now let's get to talking about this knife, because when I sold my original Yojimbo 2, that was a hard decision. I didn't really want to part with it, but I did it in hopes that someday someone would come out with another release of the blade in CPM 20 CV, and DLT came to my rescue. They did that, and I just had to get this one. This is one of my favorite Spyderco blades, and for very, very good reason. For a lot of reasons. This is just, again, a very unique blade shape. It stands out. It's very, very useful, very sharp and slicey, and it has a super aggressive Warren style blade shape. As I said, this is designed by Michael Janich, who is a self-defense instructor, teacher. I don't know his exact specialty. I believe it's in martial arts, but of course, heavy emphasis on self-defense, which obviously kind of fall one and the same. I really don't know a ton about Michael Janich, but I know he did design this knife, as his maker mark is right here, and I've seen him do some demonstrations with this knife. There's also actually a trainer you can get that has a false edge blade with some holes in it to actually practice your handling and skills with the knife without having to worry about cutting yourself. Another thing that I really like about this blade is the pretty darn sharp edge here. We have behind the edge reading of 19 thousandths, and that's emphasized with a pretty gnarly, let's see, hollow grind right there. As you can see, it is coming down. There we go, coming down to a very nice, very sharp point and a very aggressive tip. This knife is primarily designed for using it in, a worst case scenario. It's to where you have to defend yourself. This is made to be primarily self-defense, but it does also make for a pretty darn good EDC. I think most people will agree that a Wharncliffe style blade is extremely, extremely useful in your everyday carry needs, from opening any type of boxes or letters to any type of draw cuts. It's a very aggressive blade, and it gets the job done very quickly. We also have excellent placement of the Spidey hole. Some people don't like that it's going into the hollow grind. I personally have no issue with that whatsoever, because it's perfectly located for your middle finger or thumb to get right there and just really whip it out. We will talk more about that when we get to action, but it was worth noting as we talk about the blade as well. And we also have a very nice place to put your thumb on this knife. Now, you guys know me. I'm usually crying for jimping on any knife that doesn't have it, but with this one right here, I really don't miss it, because there's such a downslope here. You can press your thumb into it and really get such a good purchase on this knife that I really don't miss or even need the jimping. It serves its purpose just fine and feels pretty good in my hand, at least up in this area here. Moving into the ergos, there's parts of it that feel great in my hand, and there's other parts of it that just aren't the best in my opinion. I really like this area here for my thumb. That feels fantastic. And really the actual outline of the scales here work great. They really do, because my ring finger can go right here and my other two fingers hop up right here. Pinky wraps around the bottom, and you have a really good grip. So in that sense, the ergos are really good. My problem is right here, this guy. And I don't so much hate this Spyderco clip on this knife as far as aesthetics and functionality goes, because it goes into the pocket just fine, it comes out fine, it leaves a little bit of the knife up here to grab, which is actually a really good finger size pull out. But what it does is it does just, I feel the ramp on the clip here, and I do kind of feel this area, this elevated area here where your hem's going to sit. I don't know if I'd call it a hot spot, but it is just kind of annoying. A little more annoying than something to where, where I always say like, oh, I feel the clip. I feel it more than I want to. I think what I'm going to do with this knife right here is I am going to be getting some type of a milled titanium clip. I don't know exactly what route I'm going to go yet, but I think more of a flat milled clip would be excellent for this knife. Absolutely excellent. I'm usually a huge advocate of Lynch clips for Spydercos, but I think in this case, I think I do want something just flat the whole way. I think that's going to feel really good in hand. And I'm also going to get some custom scales, because I don't hate this G10 or the tan G10, But the tan, I've kind of I'm a little brown on tan. I've kind of fallen away from it on any knife handle colors. It's just not quite my jam. But obviously, as this being a little bit of a limited Spyderco, I'll be saving the handles. But I really want to get some fat carbon dark matter scales. I think that would look pretty sweet on this knife. It would be amazing. One thing that I do really like on these scales is the texture. Anyone that's handled a Yojimbo 2 knows it has a very, very nice grippy texture, but not too aggressive. In my opinion, this is really the perfect texturing to put on G10. I really do love this. I do just kind of wish it was a different color. But regardless, I didn't buy this knife for the color of the G10. I bought it for that right there, the 20 CV steel, which I think is a huge bump and upgrade to help with the tip up here, which as you see comes down to a pretty thin hollow grind. So that extra strength in the 20 CV I think is what really, really makes this an absolutely excellent piece. There's really nothing I would change as far as the materials used for, you know, kind of the base run of this knife. The scale color is kind of whatever. You're getting it for the steel here, and it is a really good grab indeed. Going into action and hitting right on this Spyderco hole, Spyderco hole, Spidey hole. Why Spidey hole? Yes, we're gonna go with Spidey hole. It's placed just right to where when you go to flick this, you don't need to use your actual fingernail. This is the trick here. You want to get right under your fingernail. It helps if you don't have fingernails like me or you keep them cut down to the brim all the time. But right here. So when I place it, I'm putting my fingernail is sitting on top of the hole, and kind of just the beginning of the fat of my thumb is, or my middle finger is going right there in it, and it just kicks right out. And the action is really, really good on this. Spyderco in general does a very good job of making their knives work fantastically well with washers. To be honest, I'm thinking about it right now, and I can't think of any Spydercos that have bearings. I'm sure I'm wrong. I'm sure there has been in the past. But all the ones you know and love, the Shaman, the PM2, the Para 3, they are all on washers. And I have no issue with that because it works fantastically as a Spidey flick, and it works just as well with a thumb flick. And you can also do this kind of reverse hold and kick the blade out and go right into a reverse grip, which I think is fun, especially with this knife, because I will say, you know, as I said before, it's designed for self-defense, so this grip, I think, was intentionally made to be a little extra comfortable in the reverse grip in case you ever had to use it for some reason like that. But it's just, it is a pretty fun fidget knife. I think it's underrated as a fidget knife. This is one that I can sit with and fidget for quite a while, and the compression lock, the Spyderco compression lock, just always works well with the overall handling. When you combine the deployment and closing, it's always been one of my favorites, and it always works well. It's one of the reasons that I am somewhat of a Spyderco fan. My only worry is when I go to take this and change the scales out that I'm going to fight the ungodly amounts of blue Loctite that Spyderco is notorious for putting on their knives. But you know what? It comes with the territory. I have learned to accept it, and regardless, overall thoughts are really good on this knife. I really do like it. This is a Yojimbo 2 that is probably never going to be leaving my collection. I really didn't want to sell my last one, but I had my Carta scales on it. And one hint that I would give anyone, as much as I love this knife, I don't like it with micarta. And I don't know why. The micarta scales I had, they were the Allen Putnam. Quality was fantastic. It just didn't quite, I don't know, it didn't quite sit well with me. I felt like carbon fiber or G10 is definitely the way to go with this knife. I think it gives it just a little extra durability. But overall, it is absolutely a fantastic knife. It's the Yojimbo 2 that I've been waiting for quite a while. Could not be happier to have it. I'm so happy DLT dropped these. I hope they're going to be dropping more. But as I said before, even an S30V, I'd still recommend this all day to anyone who wants a good Wharncliffe. This is easily one of my favorite Wharncliffe blades of all time. And there's not many that come close to it, to be honest. It's been one. This was one of my first expensive knives. Expensive knives I bought when I was first getting into knives. Really do enjoy it. Would recommend it to anyone. And if you look in the description of this video, you will find DLT's website link where you can go check it out. I will also have a direct link to check out all their Yojimbo 2s that they have in stock. So let me know what you guys think. Have you ever handled the Yojimbo 2? What are your thoughts on it? I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Thank you again, DLT, for hopping on. You guys are going to see more DLT. You're going to see a lot more good reviews and comparisons and lists coming your way. And until the next one, I'm out.